Hello, welcome back to the LineStar MLB DFS Slate breakdown for May 25th. We are back with another exciting slate. Before we get into it, as always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube. Helps us out a ton. And if you're not already, come join us at LineStar. Join the community. It is only $29.99. Gets you all of the DFS, all of the props, all the good stuff. And if that's too much, we also got a couple promo offers to try it out for 2 to 6 months for cheap. Anyways, let's get into it now. We got a 5-game slate on DraftKings. It is 6 games on FanDuel with a little bit of an earlier start time. So if you are on FanDuel, make sure to remember that. Get your lineups in on time. And with that, we'll go over both providers a little bit, and we will start with pitching as always. We got Logan Gilbert coming in at the highest owned, as he should be. This is a guy that has been absolutely spectacular this year. He's 42.4% owned, 9,900. And really, he probably should be. He has that matchup against Oakland that we all know and love, and he has just been incredibly good this season. So if we look, 2.29 FIP over his last 5 with a 30% K rate. So his K rate has gone up a little bit. His FIP has gone down. He's looking great. He's in a good matchup, and he's at home. Next, we got Aaron Nola. He's versus the Braves here, so we got a tough matchup. Really good pitcher. He does have a fairly good history, though, versus Atlanta, so I wouldn't be scared off just that it is Atlanta. We do know they can strike out a little bit, but it's a very good hitting team, so it is a tough matchup. It's understandable that Nola is not the highest owned, and he may actually be going slightly over owned. On this slate for the matchup. However, there's not a ton of really good pitching matchups on this slate. The SB2 spot is going to be a little tricky today. Nola, though, been great. Mid-threes FIP, 24% K rate, and combined K rate 22% today versus the Braves. So not quite the upside you like to see at his price, but he is one of the only good SB2s today. Next, we got JP Sears, 7,300, 29% owned. To be honest, I think this is way over-owned for a guy that, yes, he does have some strikeout upside that he has shown lately. 24% K rate, 4.4 FIP. But he gets crushed by righties. And this Seattle lineup has a lot of good righties. He is also worse at home. Worse away. The one thing that Seattle does have, or Sears has going for him, is that Seattle's striking out at almost 26%. So there is some upside, and that is why the crowd is likely going there. I'm not all in on this. Teoscar Hernandez is my home run call for today. I like a lot of the righties in this Seattle lineup. And it's really just comes down to that Sears is a lot worse away. And then also worse to righties. So don't love it. But there's upside. And he had a really good outing versus them earlier in the season where he went 6 innings, had 7 Ks, no earned runs. Was the best outing that he had this year. I just don't think he's going to be able to recreate that. But hey, he could. Next, we got Clark Schmidt. He is versus the Orioles. Another tough spot here. Orioles striking out 22%, but versus righties, their WOBA's not that high, but their ISO is very high. But they have struggled versus Baltimore a little bit. Or versus Clark Schmidt a little bit. 37 plate attempts. Baltimore's only hitting 167. Only striking out 13.5%. But they aren't really doing well. And Clark Schmidt is much better at home, averaging 23.4 more fantasy points at home. So being that he is slightly less owned, I am more inclined to go him than Sears. Or you could go down to Carrasco here versus the Cubs, which another one I don't love. Carrasco just has not got it going this season. And this is what I'm talking about, where SB2 is tricky. You may be forced to just pay for two higher owned pitchers here and two higher priced pitchers. Carrasco, there's strikeout upside versus the Cubs, but they got a high WOBA versus righties, high ISO versus righties. And Carrasco, 6.75 FIP over the last 5 games. He's only started 4 so far this year. He just has not been right. So I am a little wary of him. We do have winds blowing in, though, which should at least help him a little bit to keep the ball in the park. Next, we got Kyle Gibson, 3.84 FIP over his last 5 starts. No real K upside. He is against the Yankees, though, who do strike out at 23%. So that might help a little bit for an 18% combined K rate. Don't love it. And he's got shelled versus the Yankees, although it looks like he hasn't faced them since 2019. So I really wouldn't take too much into consideration of this BVP data here. Logan Webb. We are still waiting for official announcement if he is making the start. Some people are saying that he is expected. If he is, I think you got to like Logan Webb here. He's in a decent spot versus the Brewers. The Brewers aren't that great of a hitting team. So that will do it today for DraftKings ownership. Let's take a look at FanDuel. We got Giolito on the bump on FanDuel, so that does change ownership over there, but Logan Gilbert is still at the top, 40%. Aaron Nola next at 21%, then Giolito at 16%. I think Giolito's in a very interesting spot today. This Detroit lineup is okay. They are not very good, but they have been hitting okay recently. But versus righties, striking out at almost 23%, low WOBA, low ISO. I think you got to like that. 21% combined K rate. Giolito has been good, 3.45 FIP over his last 5 starts, 3.75 over his last 20, 24% K rate. The one issue we have against Detroit is he has got shelled versus them. 92 plate attempts. They're hitting 309. However, the strikeout rate is 31%. So if Gio is able to keep the ball in the park or just limit runs, he does have some nice strikeout upside in this, and that's kind of what I like to see here. And it looks like his last few starts have been fairly good. He just got shelled a few years ago against them. So I do like the Gio spot, and then probably wouldn't go down below him ownership-wise on today's slate for FanDuel. Now let's get into the stacks. What will not be popping up on the DraftKings here is the White Sox, because they're not on DraftKings, but I think you do kind of like the White Sox. White Sox have been hitting decently, and they have a decent matchup here today. Now, highest owned, we have San Francisco coming in at almost 140% owned. It's pretty high owned. It is only a 5-game slate. And we don't really know all the pitcher details yet for Milwaukee, so I'm not going to comment on it too much. But this Giants team isn't a great hitting team, so I don't really love fading or following the chalk on that situation. Now, our highest projected stacks. We got the Yankees. We got Baltimore. They're in a good spot. There's decent weather in New York today, so that ball could fly a little bit. And I think you can like either side of this stack. Both pitchers are able to get blown up. From the numbers, The recent numbers, Schmidt looks a little bit better, but the last 20 numbers, Gibson looks a little bit better. It just goes to show you, I think either of these guys can get hit. Both offenses are good and can do some damage. Next, I want to really bring up Philly because we got Dylan Dodd on the mound for the Braves. He has not been very good. He is coming back up from the minors. Maybe he's made some adjustments, but he got shelled last time. Excuse me. Last time he was up in the majors. Now let's check some value stacks here. San Francisco's all over it, which you may have to have a little bit of him if you're going up to two high-priced pitchers. Ceiling-wise, we got the Yankees. We got the Braves. Braves versus Nola, which is a tough one. They can get to him, though. Cubs is one I do like to talk about, and I think we should. Carrasco just has not been good. High 6 FIP over his last 5 starts. Again, he started 4 so far this season. He just hasn't found his stuff, so I think the Cubs are fairly interesting today. Another one that's not popping up yet and really need to talk about it is the Mariners. Mariners coming in super low owned. JP Sears is not that good. He has been, touted as a good prospect. We just, excuse me. We just have not seen that this year, and that Oakland bullpen is terrible. So I really like the righties in this Mariners matchup. And that'll do it for us today. It's a short 5-game slate. Thank you guys for joining us. I got to go get a sip of water. You have a good one. Good luck today. And we will catch you back here soon. Thank you very much. Have a great evening. Bye.